Welcome to Focused on Forward. The purpose of this podcast is to focus on recovery from life situations, be it a disease, chronic or acute, perhaps the loss of someone so dear to you in death, or a change of life patterns that has affected you so profoundly that you have no choice but to find your new normal and become focused on moving forward. Each episode is designed to show the positivity that people bring to each and every one of their stories, the successes they've had, ways that they have become so definitively focused on moving forward. We look forward to sharing their stories, and we hope that they inspire you just as much as they have inspired us. Thanks for listening, and enjoy the show. Good evening, everyone, and welcome to Focused on Forward, our Friday night live edition. Excited because we have an opportunity to talk with a guest I've had an opportunity to talk with before on another podcast I do called Funny Science Fiction Podcast. Jeff Swampy Marsh and his son are waiting in the backstage area. We had a really great chat with Jeff Swampy on the show when he was there with us, and we got to talk about all the things that he does in his business life, of course, as the co-creator of Phineas and Ferb, Milo Murphys Law, and a few other things. It really had a nice chat and an opportunity to share some laughs. So it was a ton of fun to have him on there. But tonight's conversation is a little bit more serious. We're going to talk about a charity that means an awful lot to both he and his son, and what it means to them. And we'll talk about how they got involved, why they got involved, and of course how that has progressed over the years so that it becomes something that they're spending more of their time and efforts in. So very excited to bring them in, and we'll do that in just a moment. But of course, we need to say thank you first and foremost to our sponsor. Please pay attention to this short video. Since 1982, Vital Signs and Graphics has been helping professionals with all their image, logo, and design needs. Perhaps you're looking for signs and banners, truck and trailer lettering, business cards, brochures, or other image and marketing aids. Vital Signs and Graphics in-house design studio has you covered. From logos to apparel, start to finish, Vital Signs and Graphics has everything you need to look and feel professional. Call Rick at 231-652-3300. He'll get you noticed. All right, so again, that phone number for Vital Signs and Graphics is 231-652-3300. Call Rick, talk with him, and let him know that you saw him on Focused on Forward and you want him to design you a logo, put something on a shirt for you, put some really cool stickers on your truck, whatever it is, but let him know you saw him here, and he'll take really, really good care of you. So with that being said, we'd like to now bring forth our guests who are waiting so patiently in our virtual green room.
Coming forth.
You came forth. Hi, guys.
How you doing?
Very well.
Good to see you, Tim.
Yeah, likewise. Hey, thanks for doing this. This is very cool. I'm always looking for people who have a story attached to what they do and why they do it, and especially when it's something cool like this. Now, for those of you who may not be familiar with this charity, it's called A Walk on Water, and I'll let them go into all the super cool specifics of what it is and how it is and all that stuff. But if you just take a minute and go to their website, it's really cool. I kind of got lost in the website a little bit this afternoon. It was a bit of a rabbit hole, but it's a cool rabbit hole. So if you don't mind, tell me how you guys got involved with it.
If you're going to go down a rabbit hole, that's a good one to go down, I'll have to say. It's really emotional. Well, we were looking at, God, what was 7 years ago now?
I'd say it might even be longer, but around 7 years ago or something around that.
And we were looking for something to give back and wanted to do something that combined surfing, which I used to surf when I was younger. I'd given it up, and we moved back to America in 2006 to make Phineas and Ferb. And my son here, who was born in England, the first summer we were back, the house was being remodeled because it had been We weren't living there for like 6.5 years. And so his mom took him out to the beach every day and started getting him surf lessons. I came home one day and it's like, wait, he's getting surf lessons? I love surfing. I haven't been surfing in years. So we started surfing together. And the thing that I looked for, and we found, at least I started getting letters from people who were watching Phineas and Ferb about what a profound effect our show was having on kids on the spectrum and special needs kids in that whole autism area. And I had no idea why, but we got so many letters from people saying this show was the first time my child sang or spoke.
Oh, wow.
Or this, it had these effects. And I didn't understand why, but I became fascinated by it. So when we went out looking for a way to give back, I literally searched surfing and autism because I'd heard that surfing was one of the therapies that they were using to help kids on the spectrum. And I found a walk on water. I found a few of them that did similar stuff, but the thing that set a walk on water apart from me was that they were specifically talking about doing surf therapy for special needs kids and their families.
Okay.
This was something that the whole family got the day. So the family came out, the parents, who's, I didn't realize either just how completely full their lives are with taking care of, if you have a special needs kid. But what a sacrifice that also entails from the siblings of that special needs kid. And this organization said, look, the whole family comes out, they get a day at the beach, the parents get the day off. All they have to do is watch and cheer and eat some food and play some music on the sand and do some art. And all of the siblings go surfing as well.
That's cool.
And I remember it took a while for me to there's a lot of volunteers and people who want to do this. So I was calling and emailing Sean Swentek, who's one of our senior members, I think on a weekly basis, saying, hi, please let us come volunteer. I do a show called Phineas and Ferb. I was willing to pull the strings because I was like you. I went down the rabbit hole of the website and just was like, this is the coolest looking thing ever.
Yeah, I think that rabbit hole is, a perfect, kind of explanation for what really got us into this. Was we felt immediately really invested in what we were looking at and really, an emotional attachment to it. And we realized that this was something so much cooler than, than we expect, not even expected to find, but just something that was really quite amazing and quite special. Everything inside of us wanted to be part of it somehow, just to kind of help this, organization, be part of this organization and make it something that more people got to enjoy and to experience.
Yeah. And I have to say, going there for our first event, because finally Sean caved. He said, I finally just said, I'm tired of getting emails and phone calls. We should let him come. And
whatever gets him to stop emailing me.
Yeah. Just leave me alone. And the first event that we went to completely over delivered on expectations. It was cheering and screaming, joy, happiness, tears. It was just, beyond what I had hoped for. And we were immediately hooked. We've been with them now.
Well,
7 years,
7.5. Yeah.
My son became kind of the youngest, one of our ambassadors when we were probably 13 or something, I think. And we got our jackets. And a few years ago, got on the board of directors and became the head of water safety. Django is one of our beach safety heads. And it's been a tough year for us this year. We had our first event in over a year and a half. And it was one of the hugest reliefs. Because I'll tell you one thing that's true too, as much as this is therapy for the families that come, This is therapy for the people that go out and volunteer, especially
Yeah.
a lot of the surfers that we have. Surfing is a weird sport. It's very solitary,
Okay.
and it tends to be in that way kind of a selfish sport. It's something that you go out and do for you on your own. It's not a team activity, and as much as you go surfing with people, that time in the water is yours. And this is something, the walk on water events, that's completely the opposite. Everything
Mhm.
about it is about everybody else,
Okay.
and that feeling is something that oftentimes we as surfers neglect. It becomes very much about ourselves, and this completely changes your perspective. And
Okay.
the feedback you get from people is quite astonishing. I mean, I've literally had a guy on the beach, a dad who was next to me crying, who just turned to me and he said, "I have to tell you, after my son's session, I just had the first conversation I ever had with him.
Oh man.
You don't know what to do." I mean,
Yeah.
literally now we're all crying. And I'm
Wow.
like, "Dude, you got to give me a break. I have to do safety. I have to focus."
Have to be able to see tears. Yeah,
And
no, it is a very emotional thing, and absolutely, it will reduce us to tears at many events in a really nice way, in a sense that you're like, it's a happy release of, I'm so glad that what we are doing is actually making a difference for people and actually actively changing people's lives, and in a good way, you
Yeah.
know.
and I get to spend time with this guy, which,
It's a good
has its
trade-off. That's always a good trade-off when you can pick something that you're able to spend with family and do with family. That's awesome. Having two older boys myself, it's kind of nice to be able to find ways and things that we're able to do together and that we enjoy to do together. So how cool is it that you guys get to do this together?
yeah.
That's also nice for, the families that come out there. You have, these siblings who it's hard to find the crossover of things to do for a lot of these kids, because they're, it's age differences. If it's, just you're doing different things, these kids are doing different things in life, and kind of no matter who these two kids are, or whoever these families are, it's something they all get to do together at the same time. They have a day of it. We take, not only these kids but their family members out when they want to, and
We've taken moms
really
and dads
special.
out,
Yeah.
and it's that one day everybody gets to experience that same stoke that you get from surfing. And it's pretty cool. We have a trophy ceremony at the end where everybody gets together and cheers all the kids on, all of our athletes. And once they get to the beach, all of the kids that come out are athletes. From that moment on, they're referred to as athletes.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah, it is it's the best. I encourage anybody to come out. I mean, please go on the website and volunteer, but even if you don't get picked to volunteer, if you're anywhere near one of the events, and during a normal season we do 5 or 6 events on the West Coast, and we do another 4 or 5 events on the East Coast.
Okay.
Montauk, Rockaway Beach, we do one down at Virginia Beach,
Mhm.
and
Nice.
we are doing some of those events. But if you're anywhere near, please feel free just to come down and watch it and stand on the beach and cheer these athletes on. It's a great day.
Yeah, that's super cool. I want to take a second to share the website with everybody. I'm going to bring it up on the screen here. And so what's cool about this for me is that, like I said, I caught myself just kind of watching this little intro video on the main screen, because I was like, oh, so because it's like, oh, that's what it is. It's surfing, and then you go in, and I don't think they could have picked a better picture to start off with, because that young man's smile, that, oh man, that kind of grabs you right there, right as you get started. And it's just so cool to see these folks being able to participate and do something, and they are clearly having just a whale of a time
It is
being involved.
smiles all day long. And I always say that we're one of the groups that do water safety, and Django does beach safety. And I'm usually floating about this deep in the water. And so you get to watch the athletes and their instructors surf by you. To me, that's the best view in the entire place, because I get to see the smiles and hear the laughter and screams of glee as they come by. And you just put your hand up, and as the athlete comes by, they'll high five you, and it's just the best view ever. And then when you turn around, you see them surfing in toward the beach, and you see all of the parents standing there cheering them on. It's absolutely fantastic.
Yeah, this is a really, really cool website. So for those of you who are wondering how to find this cool website, it is, of course, awalkonwater.org, and I'll put that in the comments in just a second here. But let's talk about some of the ways that this charity helps benefit. We kind of mentioned on it a little bit here, but what are some of the ways that this really benefits the participant mainly?
Well, we and just recently, over the last few years, some actual research has really started to come to fruition that people have been doing about how surfing actually impacts these kids and the families. Several studies have been done. We had somebody out a couple of years ago who was doing a thesis paper on it, and we're starting to get scientific verification of what the positive effects are of surf therapy. And I think there's other therapies that do a similar thing. I know a lot of people have experienced similar kind of things from horseback riding, horse interaction, but just the water in general. Apparently there's something about that rhythm and that feeling and being on there that opens these kids up. For many of them, literally physically relaxing their bodies.
Sure.
And they reconnect. We don't know exactly why it is.
But it works.
The feedback that we get is astonishing. Again, anything from, first words to, kids that are very much in their shell. And the parents have talked about how just once they know they're going to an event the weeks before, they pick up, their mood changes, they're happy, they're overjoyed, and the effects, apparently, the positive effects last anywhere from weeks to months after the actual, day of surfing.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Increased connectivity, all this kind of stuff that we have no idea why it happens, but it does.
Yeah.
I think also that the nice thing about it is surfing is not the most kind of, just in general for anybody, the most accessible sport, because you need a board, and a board can be a bit of money. So if you don't know how to surf, it's very tricky in that sense.
You need a beach.
But so for a lot of the people who come out, it gives them a chance to learn how to surf. And then they go home, and after coming to a couple of events, they start thinking, you know what, I'm going to get a board. And we have some people who come to it and still come to events, but say, when we're not coming to events, the kids are always asking to go out surfing. And they would never have gotten there before without some kind of space to learn, right? And so it's nice. The therapy extends outside of the day, and that's, I think, where the real, we see the day of, which is amazing, but for the families, it's what extends after that, and it's the days after that I think is really quite amazing. And we've got a couple of kids now, or quite a few kids, quite a few families who've bought boards and surf with their kids now.
Yeah, they're now doing it on their own.
How cool is that?
Yeah, it's fantastic. You see kids out in the water, taking over and taking charge. It's really cool.
Excellent.
Oh, by the way, that you reminded me too when you started this by thanking your sponsors. For A Walk on Water, I have to make sure to thank the guys at John Paul Mitchell Systems, who are our main sponsor.
Wonderful. Yes, please do.
John Paul Mitchell, they have been stepped up and have become a huge sponsor for us, and our longtime sponsors, the guys at Caton, who make beautiful trunks and surf clothing and these lovely T-shirts we're wearing. These guys have been with us for a long time, and they do all of our event shirts, and give a lot to us to keep these going.
Wonderful.
We're all on donations. So if you feel generous, feel free to donate.
Well, yeah, those are actually, I was going to ask you about the shirts, so I'm glad you brought those up. I especially like the one that Django's wearing. That's pretty sweet looking. I like the, I can't quite tell, are those oars or are those surfboards that are crossed?
Oh, they're surfboards. Yeah.
Okay. I kind of figured they'd be surfboards. I couldn't figure out why they would be ours, but yeah.
Yeah.
We'll see them on this lovely hat.
Look at that go. All right. Yeah, that's cool.
And we do. There's T-shirts for all the different events. So we have a lot of people who have a T-shirt from every event, and it's kind of great. And kind of like, oh, you were at the Huntington event. Oh, you were at the Montauk event. It's really nice. It creates that community.
I know. I like my Montauk shirt.
Yeah,
it's like distance traveled.
yeah.
But if you go online and you take a look, if you want to support the organization and get some really cool surfwear, Caton does make really cool products, and there's hoodies. You have one of those like pink hoodies. That's the best hoodie. Everybody who owns it loves this hoodie. And I don't want to wear one because my son wears one and we'll look like twins. But when he's not about, I've borrowed it because it's one of the nicest things ever. Oh, yeah. You kidding? Of course I have.
That's great. Yeah, if you go to the shop, I do believe you'll be able to see. And then, you got the donations. You can donate.
And that's, that's JP, who's our benefactor from John Paul Mitchell.
Yeah, this is really cool. All these different giving levels, and then of course the ability to donate on your own. How cool is that? That's something. And then you were mentioning the shop as well, and then of course there's Caton.
Yeah. See, that's the pink hoodie. For some reason, that one is just better than the others. Why, I don't know.
It's really
personally
nice.
Vouch for just how cool that hoodie is.
I mean, you know what? This is what the really nice thing is we're all surfers. Caton is a surfing brand, so they make things for us. So we all, every single time, all the AWOW guys, like, I'm gonna buy a T-shirt just because I kind of want it, or I'll buy a sweater because they're kind of great for what we use it for.
Butt to knit hats.
Yeah.
Yeah. So there's a lot of cool different things on here that. And honestly, I'll tell you, this is not one of the areas that I went into. I saw it, I was like, oh, okay, that's the merch line. But so for full disclosure, for day work, our sponsor at the head is actually our business. So that's our day job, Vital Signs and Graphics. So that's the company my dad and I run together. And so I look at this stuff and I'm like, oh man, they did a really good job with the layout, and look at how nicely that's. Because, okay, so you probably shouldn't, but, when you do something as a career, and you may even do this, Swampy, as you're watching other animated series, where you go, oh, I don't know if I would have made that choice in drawing it that way. But I do that when I see other people walk down the street with different shirts and things on, going, oh, boy, that logo needed to be a little smaller. That should have been a little bit bigger. That should have been.
Oh, I completely do it with animation. Some stuff all the time.
All the time. And I'll watch like some animated something, and my dad will come and be like, why have they done this with the characters? I'm like, why are you looking at that? No. Hey-ho.
I have a friend, actually the real Ferb, because there is a real Ferb who's been my friend for way longer than I care to admit. But he's a set builder. He built most of the sets for the Star Trek series for years, some of the films, but almost all of the series. He used to have a business card that said Ferb Leisure Klingon Battle Cruiser Technician, because he built so many of them. And where was I going with that? Oh, he will walk out of films. His wife has said, because he watches the sets, and if the set shakes, like when a door slams, it's ruined the illusion for him.
Yeah.
And he will just
he watches sci-fi movies, and he sees like these, like the sliding doors of on a spaceship, and he's like, oh, I know how they made that. That's just, and you're just like, how do you?
And then if it works wrong, it upsets him, and he has to.
Sure,
leave.
It's hard to suspend disbelief at that point, I'm sure.
Well, you're doing event stuff, and when we go to events now, we have to hear him critique it. It's like, they should have done that differently. Could have gotten like, see, it happens to everybody, dude.
Yeah, exactly. exactly. So yeah, so I kind of got lost there in just a couple seconds while you guys were talking about how cool the pink hoodie was, and I'm like, yeah, that actually is pretty cool. Look at the layout, boy, they really did that nice. And yeah, so
It's light, but it's nice and warm. It's perfect. Honestly, if you're looking for a new hoodie, just saying.
The guys from Kate know us for this. That was quite an endorsement.
Raving reviews.
We should call Dale.
excellent. And then of course, if you buy one of these awesomely designed shirts or hoodies, of course that's going to go and benefit a walk on water as well. So, but that is really cool. I'm okay. I gotta stop looking at the website. I have it off on the side of the screen. I'm like,
Please.
I'm like, you guys go ahead and talk. I'll give you a topic. You guys talk about it, and I'm just gonna surf the website. See what I did there?
Oh,
anyway,
we can talk for just hours about anything.
Yeah, true. That's true.
That's yeah. Okay. So let's talk about you talked about how you badgered poor Sean to get started here. But what was your first event, and what was that like for you guys?
I think the first event that we did was up in Ventura.
Yeah.
Because that's one of our regular stops. We go out to Ventura, and the first event that I volunteered for, we just did beach safety, which is a good way to kind of get started. We both, Django was a swimmer, and I used to be a competitive swimmer and had all my lifeguard training. So we started doing safety straight away, and it's they're really good about doing a good safety briefing to let you know what's expected of you. And you're there just to make sure, quite literally, that everybody's safe. You catch the athletes when they come in, make sure the boards aren't hitting anybody, make sure that the people on the beach aren't getting in the way of the boards, and just sort of policing the area. A lot of it is also communicating to the people, because we're on a public beach. You have to be the one to say, hey, we're doing a surf therapy event. Please try to move down a little bit. Give us a little room. We don't want to get anybody hurt. And I have to say, especially out in the water, that surfers can be kind of territorial. And we go into some of the best surf locations, Malibu, Huntington Beach, and we're out there in the water basically taking up the space for an entire day. But when you get out there and you communicate, people say, look, I'm sorry, we're not trying to get in your way, but we're doing a surf therapy event. These are our athletes. These are special needs kids. And this, once you explain it to people, almost everybody kind of, yeah, okay, we'll give you some room.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Right.
Yeah. And that was our first experience, was just literally down there being on the beach, making sure that the environment was a safe one for everybody involved. But we got to experience what the parents were experiencing, standing on the beach, watching their kids having, these incredible experiences, laughing and achieving and, participating in stuff, which a lot of them don't on a regular basis. I think our second event was San Onofre.
Yeah.
And I remember that one because San Onofre is a rocky beach.
Oh, yeah.
So if you're doing water safety on one of these beaches, it just beats I came home with bruised feet and sprained toes and shins, and
you learn to smile through the pain, because you don't want to, But as an organization, I found it, and I still find it to be really, really easy for people to join if they haven't been before. Because if you're, let's say, don't want to get in the water, we have a lot of stuff to do for people who don't want to get in the water. If you just be there in the morning and set up, and you don't want to be around people, come and set up in the morning, and then go on to the rest of the beach and come for breakdown. We have a job for everybody. We have something to do for everybody. Like, we both surf. We don't surf with the kids because we're good at surfing. We're not that good, right? But we're still able to do things, and we're still able to be on the water. And sometimes we'll be on boards as safety, just being the water safety. So I think it does the organization does a really good job of making it kind of accessible for all people to participate and to to help out in any way they can.
There's something for everybody to do, and I've heard that a lot when I say you should come down, and people say, well, I don't surf. You don't have to.
Don't have to.
It's great if you do, we've got a place for that too. But there's chaperones who just take care of the kids from the time they get there and get them in their wetsuits. There's people who just work in the wetsuit tent and help get the kids suited up and get their flotation devices on. Other people are just taking care of the food for the day or signing people in.
Playing music with the kids. We always have,
Drawing.
drawing with the kids. I mean, it's really nice that there's kind of a little bit of everything, and even for the families, if they don't want to surf, there's other things there. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
it's a full
That's
day.
Great. Yeah, that's great. That was actually going to be one of my other questions. Well, what if you don't want to get in the water? So it's good to know that there's other ways for people to be able to help out, to be able to assist and do something beneficial for these people who are coming out to share this time with their family. But the other thing I want. Oh, please go ahead.
I was going to say we always have a bunch of Groms that volunteer, which is the surfing term for the little surfers.
Yeah.
They're usually out there, and I think they're in pink shirts now, and they're always there just to be around to play with the kids,
playing around in the waters, building sand castles. I mean, boogie, like everything you can think of.
There's some kids that just want to sit in the water and feel the waves wash over them, and we have folks that'll sit there and do that with them.
Oh, that's cool. That is really cool. So I talked about one of the website being a rabbit hole, and I started to go down one again when we went to the clothing stuff, but for completely different reasons. But this is the rabbit hole where I got started right here. Was in the media section, going through and looking at these photos. There is no way that you can go through these photos and see the happiness on not just the kids' faces, because that's where I started off looking at. I started seeing some of these pictures, and I would say, "Oh, look how happy these kids are." But then I was noticing all the people who are in the background, people who I don't even think that they realize that they were on camera.
Yeah.
And these folks are smiling. They are happy. Everybody's having an amazingly good time. And to me, that's always one of the benefits of seeing events like this is that you have people who are celebrating every inch of this event.
Yeah.
And by the way, I love that the trophies that the athletes get are these awesome little surfboard trophies. How cool is that?
Yeah, they're really great little trophies. We had some different trophies over the years, and then somebody stepped up and started making these for us, and they're just great. But you're right, everybody's smiling, and it's hard to go through all the pictures that we get at these events. It's really hard to find a picture where everybody isn't smiling.
Yeah.
And you realize that's true at the events. Everybody is just beaming.
Well, I think you're right when you said it's how do I say that? It's therapy for everybody involved, not just oh, you're back.
It wouldn't be a live show if there wasn't a wrong button clicked, or there wasn't a glitch, or a sudden disconnection from the internet, and I walked away and left my guest hanging high and dry. But thank you for keeping going.
We kept talking. We were,
true professionals. Thank you.
Of course. We were just saying it is an event for everybody involved, and I think that's it's for us involved, one of the reasons why so many people come back. It's amazing what we're doing for kids, but it is really kind of it's good for the soul.
It sounds funny, but it is. When we got back together after a year and a half, the people just, you could feel the sense of release. It was that relief. Oh, I needed this so bad. It was like everybody was holding their breath, and it was just, I remember getting done with the day, and we did kind of a shortened day because we've got new protocols because of COVID and everything. And so we wrapped up. I think we were loaded up in the trucks by 2, which is really early for us. And I got to the car, and I was just like, I could just completely fall asleep right now and not wake up for a day.
Yeah. It
felt so good.
That's awesome.
And then we had to drive for 2 hours.
Yeah.
That'd be an interesting drive.
Actually, I think I drove home.
You did, didn't you?
I did drive home.
Yes, he can drive now.
Yeah, you drove there, and I slept, and then I drove home and you slept. So
That's a good deal.
It's a good deal.
That's a good trade-off. Okay.
You're a morning person. I'm a night person.
It's true.
So let's talk about ways that other people can help from a distance, because now clearly, if they're nearby the events, sounds like there's an absolute ton of things that people can be involved with, whether it's on land or in the water, or setup or tear down or whatever. There's something for just about everybody to be able to do. But so how about folks like me who are in Michigan and a ways away from where a walk on water is being held? What are ways that people from a distance can donate or help a walk on water?
Well, I'm glad you asked, Tim. First of all, you can, it just as simple as going to the website and taking a look at the forms. You can donate straight through the website. You can also, like I said, buy any of the products there, which really are great products, t-shirts and hats and clothing. All of that goes to help the organization. But we're right now rolling into two of our biggest fundraisers. We have an East Coast fundraiser, and this year the guys at the Orange County Trial Lawyers Association have agreed to host our West Coast fundraiser. So right now, immediately we are looking for donation items. And we have anything from Tristan, a friend in Cabo, has got people that he knows that are going to donate their beachfront condos for 2 or 3 days, that we're going to auction those off. And it doesn't have to be surf related. If you have things that are cool that we could auction off that you'd be willing to donate, services, trips to, lake homes, whatever you can think of that would be of value, that would be cool to auction off, please reach out and get in touch. And I'd even, although this is probably foolish of me to do, but you can even start your inquiry with my A Walk on Water email, which is swampy@awalkonwater.com, SWAMPY@awalkonwater.com. And I can put you in touch with the right people that are in charge of the events. And you can also reach out directly to the A Walk on Water website, info@awalkonwater.org. It's right there. Please reach out and let us know if you have things you'd like to donate for the auctions, both silent and live, and we will accommodate you and get you all the forms you need. We are a nonprofit organization, so it's all tax deductible. We have all the forms, and if you go and look at our Facebook page and our website, we very proudly have won a bunch of awards for our for the charity, for how we run and the percentage of money that actually goes to the charity and how little we spend on administration, and for the effects of the work we do. So please take a look, and if you have any questions, reach out. We'd be glad to help.
I think on top of that, it's also as simple as, if you know someone near one of the events, let them know. If you see, follow us on Instagram, if you follow us on, and any of the social medias, and you see something, we have an event coming up, you can share it. I mean, it really can be as simple as that. Because I know, that hoodie, for example, can be quite expensive, or some of the t-shirts can be quite expensive. A lot of people say, I can't buy all this kind of stuff. It's fine. If you can get our word out there, though, that would be amazing. Because that's how we work on word of mouth. We work on the social media presence we have.
If you know somebody who could benefit or might benefit from surf therapy, have them reach out to us. And we're also hopefully trying to get back on for next year, now that everything hopefully is getting back to normal, that we are trying to bring we're a landlocked family out every year. So people that live in Michigan or North Dakota or Ohio, bring a whole family out and take care of all the expenses and have them for one of our surf therapy events. So let people know we're out there. And again, East Coast events and West Coast events.
Okay. Yeah, absolutely. So
started as just a California thing, and the reason we moved is because we wanted more people to experience this, because we started getting that feedback from, hey, I live literally on the other side of the country, I can't get there. And we heard that and we went, okay, let's do something about that. And then we started our Montauk event, right? That was our first.
And as West Coasters, we were pretty sure that the East Coast guys were going to be big jerks. Because, New York.
Yeah.
Right. And apparently
West Side forever, man.
They're not.
So the East Coast West Coast beef isn't just with rap anymore. Okay, it's surfing too. Okay.
Not only do they actually have really nice waves, but they're all really nice people.
Yeah.
Which was kind of hard for us to admit at first, but it's true.
Yeah, no. But
Montauk is a great town, and we
Beautiful.
look forward to going to that one every year, and the whole town makes you feel welcome. It's great. So I feel much better about East Coasters now than I used to.
Nice. Excellent. Yeah, I'm already shopping for things that I'll be buying. This is in my future.
That's a good one.
Yeah, that's a
four ones. I love that one.
Yeah, that's a really cool hat. I was looking at some of the other hats. I was like, oh, I like flex fit hats. I don't like snapbacks, and mainly because I got a big head and the plastic always kind of bothers my forehead, and I'm apparently very sensitive, but that's not the point.
We usually have these back on this because this is often what we wear in the water.
Okay.
And you will burn through on a regular season a couple of these a year, either because they wash off or the sun just takes a beating. This one's actually still in pretty good shape, but after a few events, they get a light gray.
Yeah.
And I have a Tilly bucket hat that used to be black, which now just looks white. Yeah. They're brutal.
What's nice about these is they to some extent float. So, it kind of ups just at least a little bit your the visibility when they fall off. But yeah, no, we've got a bunch of cool merch.
Yeah, absolutely.
We keep buying because we love it.
No, as well you should. It's really cool stuff. Okay. If you could make a plea to anybody that's listening or anybody that's watching, because this will go out on audio too as well when we're done. But if you could make a plea to people who are listening or watching and want them to understand one thing about a walk on water, what would that be?
For me, it's and I'm gonna go. I got a letter from a parent, and I had gone on a radio show, and I was talking about the organization. I was talking about that inclusion of the whole family. I got a letter from a parent. I've never been so reduced to tears by anything in my life. And she said, "You really have no idea what an amazing gift it is to have a day where we don't have to do anything." I haven't been to the movies in years. My husband and I haven't had those evenings together. It's full on, full time. And this day where we came out to your organization and we got there in the morning and somebody came and got our child and made him feel part of the community, and we had food. She said it was the first day that I can remember where we just felt like we were having a normal day at the beach. And I keep that letter because to me, that's what separates a walk on water from a lot of other organizations that are doing really great work.
Sure.
But that inclusion of the entire family and making that a whole day at the beach for them, to me, is what really sets them apart. And that you're not only, if you're donating and helping and volunteering and whatever you're doing, you're not only helping that child, that athlete, and whatever benefit that therapy can give them, but this is a moment of relief for that entire family that these people don't get enough of. And that's, to me, why Walk on Water is so special and why it's so special to me. And everything I've kind of done in my career has been about, bringing joy and laughter and entertainment to families. That's what we tried to do with Phineas and Ferb. And I think that's why A Walk on Water just felt like an extension of that. It isn't just for one person. It's for the whole family unit. So
Yeah, nice.
I managed to get through that without openly weeping. So
that's okay. I wasn't making eye contact with you because I was expecting me to burst out in tears any second. So that we're doing good.
it happens a lot. So
no, you know what? This, if you're going to pick something to get emotional about, I think this is a beautiful thing to get emotional about. And I'll keep going back to it, but you keep going back to those photos and seeing the smiles and I'll be honest with you. This afternoon, as I was going through the website, that's where I got choked up. Was in the media files and looking at all those little smiling faces and the sheer happiness on their face. So I'm gonna stop now before I get worked up. Anyway,
we have a couple of kids I know that are pretty close to nonverbal, and I get to see them at 1 or 2 events a year, and that moment where I get to see one of these guys who comes running across the beach to come give me a hug. It'll melt you.
I'm positive of that. Yes.
Yeah. No.
Where's Swampy? Oh, he's the puddle over there. That's Swampy.
Yeah. Oh yeah, and everybody knows. It's like I don't hide it at all. It's like I'll cry at the drop of a hat.
No, that's fine. Show it. All right. So before we conclude tonight, I have a long running tradition on Focused on Forward. I almost had a walk on Focused. It's been a day. Anyways, but on Focused on Forward, I have a long running tradition here. I ask 2 questions of every guest, so I have to ask you these 2 questions, and both of you can answer, or one of you can answer. I'll let you guys decide. Okay. All right. So you guys can play rock, paper, scissors for it. I don't care. All right. But first question, looking back over the entirety of this journey, what's the single greatest lesson that you have learned?
I'm going to go on this one. And it was something that you actually helped me learn. The kids that you meet that are on the spectrum. Django once said to me years ago, said, the one thing that you need to remember, I was going to do a talk for a bunch of kids that were doing a spectrum filmmaking program. And my son was lucky enough to go to a school where you had a lot of kids on the spectrum were integrated regularly into the class. So you didn't know which kids were or weren't. They were just in class.
Beautiful.
But I said to him, I've never really spoken to a whole group of kids at class on the spectrum. I'm not sure. And he went, dude, you're fine. You're good. Don't worry about it. The only thing you really need to know is it may seem at times like they're not listening to you. They're listening. They hear everything you're saying. They understand everything you're saying. Just accept it. And it was the best piece of advice ever. And it completely changed for me the way I interacted with people on the spectrum. And I'm so grateful for that. And I now, I have a son who I've watched literally embrace people of any and all differences. And it doesn't faze him in the least. And to me, that's one of the most impressive things about him. And I shouldn't say this while he's here, but there are several things about him that impress me deeply. But that's one of the ones that just blows me away. And I think a lot of that came out of our interaction with this organization.
Wonderful. Okay.
All right. I would have said a very similar answer. That you can't make any assumptions. I know, but there, I'm wired differently to a lot of the people that we surf with, and at a certain point, even if this is something that a realization you have immediately, or it takes time for you to realize, but there are things that everybody can do different things better than you or worse than you, and a terrible assumption that you get is that, you know, people on the spectrum are maybe unable to do things that you can do or anybody can do. And a lot of those kinds of assumptions are ones that you don't realize are so wrong until you come to an event and see something and go, wow, yeah, the assumption I have, you know, assumptions I've made as a neurotypical person are so far from the truth.
Okay. Excellent. Both are really good lessons. Excellent. All right. The second question, which is kind of similar. Looking back over the entirety of your journey through this, what is the single greatest piece of advice that you were given? And you can't use the advice that Django gave you on your speech already. Card laid, card played.
Wow. How about you? I got the last one.
Well, I think this is kind of a piece of advice that you gave me in working with this event. I started reasonably young with a walk on water. I was just quite young, and I really wanted to have more responsibilities, and I really wanted to, you know, do more and help more, and I wanted to be taken seriously so that I could do more. And I think, you know, you said to me, this experience might benefit you and might be really healing for you, but it isn't for you. And it is your opportunity to work as hard as you can and put as much effort in. You don't do this half-assed. You do this 100%. And the reward you get is from doing that. It is from putting your all into something selflessly, that you really truly get to feel a sense of achievement. And it is, I think, a very not lonely, but it is a very it is a feeling you feel within yourself, and it doesn't come from anything that you receive, because everything you're doing in the events is giving. And it isn't until you're driving on your way home and, you know, you're asleep in the passenger seat where you realize I have done something. I've done a whole day for other people, and it makes you feel more amazing than you will ever feel doing anything for yourself. And I think that's what brings us to come to these events every single time and work our asses off. And we are there all day from, 4 or 5 o'clock in the morning to a lot of the time, like 12 hours later, we're still working. And it's hard work. You take a nap during lunchtime. It's great. There's so many pictures. Yeah, there are so many pictures of him just with his hat over his head, like sleeping somewhere. It drains you. And we have a lot of people who have never volunteered before, and they're kind of like, "Ooh, I don't know if I could." You put your all into it, and that's how you get the most out of it, and that's how the people who are there get the most out of it, and that is the best thing to do.
Excellent. Well, awesome, guys. I like both of those answers very, very much. So well done. All right, everybody. I want to remind you that the website, of course, is called A Walk on Water. It's awalkonwater.org. You can go there. You can go to their shop section, and you can buy some merchandise, some really cool merchandise that I'll be buying myself here very shortly, pretty much as soon as I leave studio. And you can buy some of this, and you can make it so that you're getting cool merch. These kids are getting getting some time out in the water to be able to enjoy themselves, enjoy their families, and have a good day. So if you have questions about anything that's going on with A Walk on Water, you can check out our email at info@walkonwater.org, which is also in the comments. And then also there's the phone number there, area code 424-334-1773. And you can call and ask questions about events coming up nearby you, what you can do and how you can assist, and all these other things. And of course, if you don't want any of the merch, you have no plans on attending, but you just want to be able to be of help and assistance, please click the donate button on awalkonwater.org and assist these fine two gentlemen here, help make a good day for a whole family. So thank you, guys. Thank you, Swampy and Django, very much for being on today. This has been a lot of fun.
I really appreciate you having us and letting us talk about this stuff very much.
Hope
All right, guys.
Some of you guys out here on the events.
Yeah, that would be great.
Like that.
That would be great. All right, guys. Thank you, everyone, and thank you for watching Focused on Forward.
Well, that concludes another episode of Focused on Forward. To be a guest of Focused on Forward, you can reach us through Twitter at podcastfof, through our Facebook page named Focused on Forward, or through email focusedonforward@gmail.com. We look forward to hearing each and every one of your stories that has yet to be told. So until then, be safe, be kind, and be